people come from all walks of life. They all have lives they lead. Any and all are welcome here to come and chat with me.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Small Talk. Both my guests have been on the show before, but never together. So this is kind of exciting for me. My friends, Carin Bondar and Peter Lang. Welcome, you two.
Hey, Nancy. So good to be here.
Hey.
I'm so happy that you're here too. So now I know that you recently went to Iceland together. Okay, Carin, I'm going to ask you first. Now, how did that come about?
Yeah, so I, as a biologist, I actually lecture in nature and biology and critters that we see across the world. So I work for 2 different cruise lines in that capacity. And, since the past year or so, cruises have been totally shut down because of the pandemic. And so Viking, one of the companies I work for, is slowly trying to open up. So they contacted me probably back in June and said, we're going to try and start these excursions in Iceland. Can you come? And if you can come, how many weeks can you do? So I said, okay, yeah, we'll try. We'll try to go. And then it's a really good arrangement that I have with them. So if I do more than one cruise, then I get to bring someone with me. And yeah, so you know what? It went pretty well, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was, we weren't sure what to expect, but it actually went pretty well when push came to shove. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Is it all adults on the cruise, or were there children there?
Viking is 18 plus. And as a mom with 4 kids, let me tell you how much I love that.
Yeah, I understand. Okay, so Peter, while Carin was giving a lecture, what were you doing?
I was sitting in the crowd, taking pictures, things like that, or listening and learning. And I was just like a regular cruise passenger, I guess.
Kind of.
Yeah, kind of a little bit like your EA, a little bit, your executive assistant while I was.
Okay, so where did the cruise start? Or location?
It started in Reykjavik. So, and basically actually doing a cruise on Iceland is actually one of the best ways to see Iceland, because a lot of what there is to see there is coastal. And a lot of people may go there and rent a car or a van or something and go around the perimeter road, basically. And so on a ship, you kind of do that, obviously from your comfortable little cabin. So actually it's a great way to see a lot of Iceland. I want to say maybe my favorite place was Ísafjörður, which was up north. It was northwest. Gosh, it was nice there. Mm-hmm. I remember he went, you should talk about the trip he did. He did an amazing day trip. And I spent the day just poking around the intertidal, looking at local intertidal wildlife. That's totally my biology, the biologist in me. But yeah, you should talk about your day.
I don't remember which one I did.
That was the bird place.
Oh yeah, Vigor Island. Yeah, Vigor Island. It's a bird sanctuary, and it was I got to be an escort, so I got to go on that tour for free. And you go out on a boat out into the middle of nowhere to this island that was purchased by some research scientists, and they live on the island and they study birds. They study what's those ones with a colorful beak?
Terns, the Arctic terns.
Oh, no, the puffins.
Oh,
too.
the puffins. Yeah.
The terns, the puffins, and there's at least a few more, obviously ducks as well. But it was pretty cool. It was an island. I'm not even sure the size of it, what it would be comparable to, but just a tiny little place, about 4 houses on it, and they're all researchers and they live there full time.
That's really what I'd like to do, Nancy, someday.
Mm-hmm.
Go to a little teeny island and just be like, okay, we live here now. We are at one with the wildlife here. What a cool, it's isolating, but what a neat experience to have.
Yeah, I bet. So how much time did you get to spend with locals?
That's a good question, because when we were there, COVID restrictions were very low in Iceland. So actually it was the first week, and even the second time we went around, we got to do our own thing. Go to restaurants, do our own walking around town. So I would say we did have quite a good experience with the locals. Love the general feel in so many places in Iceland that you just get the feeling like the wacky and the strange and the really quirky people live there. And I loved it. I felt so comfortable.
Mm-hmm. Well, I wonder why, Carin.
I know, right? Like Bjork, like everybody's really kind of like Bjork. It's like so neat.
Mm-hmm.
Are they welcoming?
Yes, super friendly.
Yeah.
They say it's the #1 place to live in the world in terms of quality of life. Taxes are really high there, but people are super happy because you don't pay for healthcare in any way, shape, or form. Pretty sure medications are also free. Their government is a coalition government that they work together to make things happen for Iceland, especially through COVID. I think it's a left-wing party that's running the country, but they're cooperating with the right-wing party to make it happen. So
Nice.
it'd be like the NDP kind of working with the Conservatives. It's kind of unusual in terms of politics, but they make it happen that's just their culture.
Right.
And all the tours were led by locals. So
Yeah.
so they're just super friendly and they just love to tell you about their country.
Well, and Iceland had a really serious, I'm sure as you may know from the headlines, back in 2008, they had a serious economic crash that was very, very severe. And to come out of those really low economic times, one of their main industries now is tourism. And so I think that, the more people can get back there to just enjoy what Iceland has to offer, they're really welcoming that. Yeah.
Very good. What do they have? Like a certain kind of popular food that we wouldn't have here?
What was that soup? We didn't actually have it, but there was a soup that's a dish there. It's sort of a national dish. It was like a fish soup or something along those lines. And I was told to try it. I never did try it, but
A lot of seafood, a lot of like herring and like cold like stuff we were like, woo.
Yeah, a lot of fish.
Yeah, fish definitely.
Yeah.
That would make sense, of course, right? But are the produce and that, is that all expensive there?
Mm-hmm.
Super expensive. So yeah, that's a really neat question. We would go into grocery stores in most of the places we were at, because some of the places were very, very isolating. And I just love seeing how people shop and what they may have available to them to eat. And in one of the places in the north that we were at, there was a decent grocery store there that had things like bananas and avocados, but yeah, expensive, $10 for an avocado or something, like just very, very pricey, because those things have traveled a long way to get there. A lot of tinned vegetables and things like that. And certainly a lot of seafood.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds exciting though, right?
Oh, it was so great. It was so interesting. And just because I'm such I'm such a wanderer, and to stay home during COVID was, of course, awesome in a new way.
Yeah.
But it was just so nice to get back out someplace else and see how people are living. I just kind of love doing that.
And get paid to do it.
Right?
Mm-hmm. What a bonus.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Is Iceland a place that you would go back to?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
I want to take my son there. I'll fly there and I'd stay in Reykjavik and maybe rent a car. And I'd love to go back to Kiri again. That was in the north of Iceland. It's the second oldest city there.
Oh, yeah. So cool.
They have a music festival there. That's pretty cool. That'd be fun to go to, I think, to fly to Reykjavik and then rent a car and drive there. As long as it's not winter time, because the roads can get pretty impassable in some cases in the wintertime.
Yeah, you were there in the summer.
Right.
Yeah, what was the temperature like?
It was like sweater weather, kind of like maybe 20, 25 Celsius on a really warm day. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then otherwise it was sort of like British Columbia in the spring. It was rainy, gray. But the people there, that's what they're used to and that's what they know. And, as a British Columbian, I'm pretty happy in that kind of environment as well. So I liked it.
And there's no night in the summer, right?
Oh,
so
yeah,
it's just, it's light out all evening. So
it never got dark. Yeah.
Yeah. And then they know that winter's coming because the streetlights start to turn on in the town in late in the evening or in the like around midnight or so. And that's how they know the end of summer's coming.
Right.
So.
I'm just wondering if there's anything for either of you or both of you, anything that just sort of shocked you or in a good or a bad way, doesn't matter.
I guess for me, I would say that it's such an interesting place when you consider biology and geology. So Iceland has, of course, a lot of glaciers on it, but then there's also volcanoes. And there's actually one place right in the middle, right on a fault line, where there's an active volcano underneath a glacier. And that was, I remember in 2018, the world kind of shut down because there was a big volcano happening or eruption happening in Iceland. And it's basically, that's what happens when ice meets lava. It just turns turns to ash. And so I just, the geologist on the ship too we were just like it was just such an interesting and cool way for a place to form. But it's also a neat in terms of biology, in terms of what animals, plants are able to colonize there. So there's not a lot of trees. It's mostly lichens and mosses and stuff like that. So just completely different ecosystems. That's what I would say. Yeah. What about you?
What about you, Peter? Anything stands out?
Oh, maybe definitely walking, like Iceland is splitting in two. Half of it is moving towards North America. The other half is moving towards Europe because it is on that fault line, like Carin said. And I walked in that fault line on one of the tours. It had a trail right down it. And every year it kind of moves about an inch or two further apart.
Right.
So that was kind of interesting. And I guess the Penis Museum too.
Oh, right.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
That was amazing. How could I have forgotten that, Nance?
That was kind of interesting and shocking, but like that they would even have a museum. But
the sperm whale, sperm whale. It was like taller than me. The penis of the sperm whale.
Yeah.
So cool.
They had it in some formaldehyde or something.
I love it so much. I mean, because when Peter posted something about that, and I think I had to ask him to repeat it or what he was talking about.
Yeah.
It was incredible. Like, and Iceland is such a cool and quirky and interesting place that something like that could just exist on the main drag. It wasn't hidden away in some back alley somewhere. It was literally right across the street from the conference center. Like there it was, right? Yeah. Like, it was just a really interesting experience to see not just the museum itself, which was cool, but also just the many people that were flocking into it and super curious.
I just love it. I love it. Did you have a chance to talk to locals about their concerns for the environment or anything like that?
They're hugely environmental. Like they try to do as much heating with the underground lava and the heat. So like geothermal heat as possible. Right. They also use solar in some cases, but of course you get a lot of darkness in the winter, so you can't rely on solar. I don't know if we saw any wind energy. Did we see any windmills? I think
geothermal is definitely, I would say probably the most, or just the second to just sort of normal electricity. But a lot of places in Iceland are using water and getting heat from geothermal activity. So that's really interesting.
Sidewalks that have tubes running underneath them that are full of water, and that keeps the ice from forming in the wintertime, so the sidewalks stay clear. Yeah. And they just use what's natural there, right? They run the water through and use the geothermal to heat it. And I think even private property, if you have underground heat, you can actually sell back that heat to the BC Hydro, the equivalent of BC Hydro. And a lot of people do because they produce more than they need, so then they share it. So,
I love that.
Yeah. And they're also, I would say, I got a feeling like, obviously outdoors is hugely important and part of people's lives. There's a lot of baths, geothermal baths and things like that. Also, Pete is really into disc golf. So we found there was disc golf, at least a couple of courses in every single town. It's a really big sport there. Yeah, people just seemed healthy, really healthy and in tune with nature. And it's very cool.
So what kind of population do they have?
Good question.
370,000, I think, is the population of Iceland. Around there. Yeah.
Most of that is in Reykjavik. I feel like maybe 2/3 of that is in Reykjavik, and then the rest is spread around. And then there's that one center in the north in Akiri, which I think has
around 70,000. Yeah.
Because the whole place is not very big to begin with, right?
Right.
Yeah.
They had 35 COVID cases when we left, and they were going to shut the country down because it doesn't sound like a lot to us because we're here, but you got to look at it they're isolated on an island, and there's only 370,000 of them. So if 35 cases start to spread, it doesn't take long.
Right. That's for sure. Yeah.
We're on top of it real fast.
And we were lucky because, we got in, did our 2 laps, and then we went. And then because of that spike in cases that they were having, they were going to continue doing cruises, but passengers were no longer going to be able to wander on their own. It was just going to be the excursions from the ship, and that's it, which is also fine. We kind of got to do what we got to do. Everybody on the ship was double vaxxed. That was a condition of having to, of being on the trip in the first place. So people seemed pretty amenable to wanting to make it work however they could.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And the vaccine rate uptake for Iceland is 95%, even while we were there.
Oh.
So They don't mess around with all that, freedom stuff and whatever, and my rights. Yeah, they just got it done, and and that's why they're safe, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, good for them. Well, that's it, guys. We're just about out of time.
Thanks for having us, Nance. What a great pleasure to talk about our trip on your show. Thanks for having us.
I'm so glad that you were able to fit it in, you guys, because I know you're both so busy with your lives. So I really appreciate it. So just stay on camera while I say goodbye to the audience. Well, everybody, I hope you enjoyed listening to Carin and Peter talk about their trip to Iceland, someplace I would love to go. By the way, neither one of them wanted to take me in their suitcase, so I might resent that forever.
Sorry.
Anyway, thanks for watching the show. Stay safe and peace out, everybody.
A sense of community, Chilliwack's a place to be. A sense of community when you're free. Rolling through the mountains, rolling through the valley, rolling through paradise with me. It's multicultural, you're sure to see it all. Chilliwack's the place to be, you'll see. Come party in the park, go dancing after dark. Chilliwack's the place to be, you'll see.